friend. So this is my first video. Um I'm new here in YouTube and kind of new into the bookish community. Um I technically have been I've technically been a reader my whole life almost. There's definitely chunks of years where I drifted off from reading, but at least I've enjoyed books. You can't see my bookshelf, but I have quite a few books, mostly secondhand. I feel like my first video should be something along the lines of, like, hey, this is who I am, this is why I want to be part of the bookish community, and participate in BookTube. Uh, I know as a kid, it's always been a dream to be a YouTuber, being born the same year that YouTube even came out. Um, it was something that even my brother and we always like did the challenges or made YouTube videos by ourselves at home without the camera, just pretending to film. And I feel like now that I'm actually like sitting here making a real YouTube video, it's kind of unreal. Uh, and especially about something that I'm passionate about. Like, I love books and I love stories. I love reading. I want to write stories. Like, I want to be an author. Um, and I might occasionally play some games. If you have any recommendations that you want me to try, books, games, writing, whatever it is, I'm interested. So my journey into being a reader, I remember even in like kindergarten, when learning to read, I enjoyed it. I loved reading. And like I've always kind of had that same like love for reading my entire life. Um there were times that school made it not enjoyable. Like my elementary teachers, like they pushed it so hard on us to read constantly that it just wasn't fun. And it seemed more of a task than something to enjoy, you know? As I got older, the school library we had, like I went to a very small school. Like my graduating class was 20 people, so it's that small. Um, but the library at our school was very small and honestly kind of sucked. I mean, it's what you get for a public school library. You're not going to get many great options. But one thing I do remember reading a lot when I was in elementary was The Magic Treehouse. And one of the books I really loved was called Buddy. I don't honestly remember much about it anymore, other than the fact that in like the first chapter or two, the dog gets hit, and like from there, the story continues. The dog survives, but it starts off with the dog getting hit with a car. One thing I also liked reading as I got older into like like higher into elementary, like fifth, sixth grade, I really liked the book Hatchet, and like any book by Gary Paulson. I read pretty much all of his books because our library had them. And like I even have my own copy of Hatchet now. I started rereading it again as I'm older, but I just never finished it. I could probably finish it in an afternoon if I wanted to, but it holds a special place in my heart just because, like, as kids, you're always playing outside. You were stuck and abandoned outside, you know, like your plane crashed and you're forced to survive. And I don't know, just something, it was appealing to me, and I really liked the survival aspect. And like I said before, like the school, they forced reading down your throat so much that it just wasn't fun to read. So, like, most of the time, I had a book with me. Like, I always had a book with me, no matter where I was at school, at home. Like, I was always carrying a book. But at school, it was an assignment, not something for pleasure. And like the way I could explain it is like if you were sitting in your room and like you're looking around and it's dirty, like you need to clean it. Like as soon as you start to like get the motivation worked up and like you're gonna clean your room, then some like your mom or your dad or somebody comes in and is like, your room is disgusting, you need to clean it. And then you just don't want to, like the motivation is just gone. Like that's how I can explain it. Like at school, it was just like I'm sure you understand like what I'm saying. The school just ruined reading for me. But now that I'm out of school, well, during actually I should say during high school was the time when I started to finally get back into reading because they quit pushing it as much and was more focused on like what are you going to do with your life? And that's when I kind of started like diving back into books, and like I would be reading during like lectures and stuff when I should be focusing on class. I still graduated with great GPA. Like I wasn't just like slacking off the whole time. I was still kind of paying attention, but definitely was reading most of the time. After I finally grew out of the school library and realized that there's a whole world of books out there, and I finally had adult money, like as a kid, like a kid in high school, I started a job and I got some money, so I started going around and buying books used, like thrifting books, because like they were cheap. They were like 25 cents a piece to like $1 a piece. So I had just bought hundreds of books, and I kind of regret that now as I'm older because like my reading tastes have stayed mostly the same, but it's not the same as what it used to be. I have higher standards now, and I have all these books from when I first started reading, and I just wanted as many books as I could get my hands on. And like, it was too many. I couldn't read them fast enough. And now I'm stuck with all these books that, like, I don't have time to read anymore. I'm working on slowly reading them. I've got, oh gosh, I don't even know, like 100 books, maybe 150 books that I still need to read that have been sitting on my shelf for probably 3, 4, 5 years. I've been doing well reading them recently. Like I've read what, 4, 7 books this month, which is crazy. I know one of the other months this year I read 12 books, which is the most I've ever read in my entire life. Normally I read like 1 or 2 books a month. I've just really been inspired recently by my decision to make this YouTube channel, and also I'm in a Discord server that like it's really comfortable in there, and it's a lot of fun. So the inspiration or motivation to read is really high. I would say the book that truly made me absolutely love reading in high school, and what like the book that when when somebody asks me like what made you start reading, I say this book every time. And like when somebody asks me what's your all-time favorite book, it's this book. And honestly, when I was reading it, I didn't know that it would be my favorite book, and like the book that actually like set me off. Eventually I want to go back and reread it. Plus there is a second book out that I also have a signed copy of just because I really love this first book, and I'm kind of scared to read it again because it's so special to me that I'm scared that when I reread it, I'm gonna be like, why is this so special to me? I'm like, I overhyped it in my brain. But that book is The Story of Edgar Sawtelle. I'm not even gonna say the author's name because I don't want to butcher it, but you can see it there. This book is massive. It's, I don't know, 600, 700 pages long. Closer to 600, but it's just a well-written story, and it's a retelling of Hamlet, which I didn't think I would like. And I didn't know that until after I read it, and then like a couple years later down the line when I found that out, I read Hamlet and I absolutely loved it. Like I bought my own copy of Hamlet just because I liked it so much. Um and like it makes me feel fancy because I like a retelling of a Shakespearean story. My reading tastes during the years, like when I first started reading, I like in elementary school, I kind of liked the like survival aspect, being outside and like surviving like any kid would. But as I got into like middle school and like starting into high school, I liked mystery, and I have a ton of James Patterson's books. Um, that I it's crazy how many are in like some of his series. Like some of them are like 37 books long and counting. So I may not ever read all of them, but I will try. I'll definitely read the books that I have because I've already bought them. I don't want them to just sit on my shelf and have the potential to be a good book and I never pick them up just because I'm terrified of how long the series is. Because I think some of them, like they are part of a series, but you can read them as a standalone, but the rest of the books just kind of add more to the story and like continue it. But I don't know. I feel like some of them could be read as standalones just from what I've looked up from them and seen about them. Um as I got closer to graduating and when the book community really grew, uh I found fantasy and I will never go back. I love fantasy so much. And then I've actually read ACOTAR, so fantasy romance or romantasy is definitely one of my favorites. I've not actually read that many romantasy books. I've only really read ACOTAR. I think ACOTAR is like the only romantasy book that I've read. Not for sure. I'll have to double check that, but like I'm trying not to buy more books so that I can finish what I have, and knowing that I want to read more fantasy books, like it's hard because I don't have that many because I liked mystery when I bought all of these books. So I've got a bunch of like mystery thriller books. I also in high school we read Unbroken in my English class. We read the book, we watched the movie, and then we did a bunch of projects afterwards about it. And that made me really like World War II books too. I read several of them and I like the historical fiction books. I couldn't I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how many I've read or which ones I've read, but I know I've read a couple and I definitely like that genre, the historical fiction. Uh so you got fantasy, romantasy, mystery and historical fiction are my go-to genres. Uh, Fantasy is definitely the top one, though, by far. Romantasy. I know a lot of people, like, they either like the term romantasy or they don't, and I'm not sure where I stand on it. I've been using it, but I don't know what else I would call it. Uh, the reason why I'm making this channel is because I want to talk about books. I want to show like what I like and my opinions, and I want to share my voice about things in this bookish community. Um, Mainly because I don't have like many connections with people that actually like to read books. Uh, I live in a very small town, so like it's not common to be a reader. So I mainly made this channel to talk about books and sometimes writing, and depending on how I feel, maybe a game or two every once in a while. Just because that's what I like to do. It's my hobbies. Um, I want to create this space to be a cozy place for people that are experienced with book talk, book community, like BookTube, whatever you want to call it, or people that are brand new to it. So, like me, I'm kind of new to the book community space. Mainly because I'm not on social media. I don't have TikTok. Like I get kind of paranoid with it, so like me making a YouTube channel is definitely a leap. So hopefully it goes well, and yeah, I just want to create a space that anybody can feel welcome and like also just listen to me ramble about my bookish opinions and have a good time with it. I'm far from an expert on anything. Uh, I'm not a fast reader. I feel like I'm actually kind of slow. It takes me like an hour to read 30 pages, which could be kind of average, but I feel like it's on the slower side. So, like, no matter if you're a reader, a writer, a book hoarder, like I am, like, I have so many books, a gamer, just someone that wants to chill out, hang out with me. I'd like to hear what your story is and like where you started reading and how you got to where you are today in the bookish community, um, or writing. I love to write. My end goal for my life to be a published author, even if it's just one book. I want to have a book out there, just because I like books so much that I feel like it's just right. And I've actually got a couple projects I've been working on for too long now to be as little of a project they are. Um, but that's why I'm creating this channel, because I want to talk about books. I want to have motivation and potentially people keep me in check to keep writing and get somewhere. If you want to come along with my journey of just reading my books, talking about them, expressing feelings, and anything that could happen in between, if you want to see that journey, please subscribe and let me know what your bookish origin story is in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And until next time, happy reading. Bye, friend.